Hey all, Hedgy Spikes here. Did you know that in Japan they have a whole line of branding called SegaSonic? Well, for the longest time I didn't, so colored me surprised when I started getting into collecting and found all these cool Sonic items, but under that branding. Not only was I excited to find out there was more Sonic merch, but also confused by the title. SegaSonic the Hedgehog? What fucking nerd called it that? Don't get me wrong, I actually like the name, but why is it like this? So apparently, SegaSonic the Hedgehog was the name used for branding in Japan for most part of the 90s. It started when Sega filed a trademark application for the word Sonic in December of 1990, several months before the release of Sonic 1. In Japan, at the time, however, trademark applications could take up to like 3 years for approval, and arcade rival Taito already had the arcade game Sonic Blast Man. So likely to avoid conflicting with Taito, Sega used SegaSonic for branding. They thought they didn't have the right to call and brand Sonic the Hedgehog, so to make sure that they did, they called it SegaSonic. That is very interesting, especially since it lasted all the way till 1998. Even though they had the trademark all ready to go by 96, they chose to keep SegaSonic till 98. That's kind of bizarre. Not only was it branding, but also there are some Sega Sonic the Hedgehog video games, and also some merchandise which I will go into later, but I really want to focus on the Sega Sonic arcade game. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. While some arcade cabinets were released, some of them were, and there were a few arcade cabinets that were made to begin with. So to start off, we have this weird Sonic machine. I don't know what it is or what it does, but I do know that Konami made it, and that's pretty weird on its own. I couldn't find any footage of it being played or any info, but I sure would love to find some, so if it's out there, which it has to be, you guys know that it's real, so find it, record yourself playing it or something, and then get back to me on that, because I'd love to see and love to know what this Konami machine is all about. Next we have is Sega Sonic Bros. Now this game was never released due to bad location testing in Japan, and actually was considered lost until the beautiful arcade board collector Showtime revealed that he had a working board back in 2016. To my knowledge, it's just a standard puzzle game, and I really don't find these appealing at all. In fact, the only reason I like it is because it has to do with Sonic, which is why I'm talking about it. But I guess more interesting, it has weird Yellow Sonic and a weird Red Sonic. Think about that. Yellow and Red Sonic were almost canon. A shame that we lost that. Also, another cool thing is that the music that plays during Blue Spheres on Sonic 3 plays when you hit level 40 on this game, a whole 2 years before Sonic 3 was released. Moving on, we have the delicious Sega Sonic popcorn machine. This is more of a popcorn vending machine that just happens to have somewhat of a game in it. The machine has this wheel attached to it that you spin really fast so Sonic can get your popcorn made for you. Of course, you still get the popcorn out of the way, so it's not like you can really lose. I mean, I don't have much else to say. I love the machine. I love how it looks. I think there's so much character and personality to it. It's great. There was also Sega Sonic Cosmo Fighter. This was more of a ride instead of an arcade game, but like the popcorn machine, I'm still adding it anyway, so get off my back. I'll fight you. I swear I will. Anyways, this was a short ride that you played while the ride moved. It had Sonic in the spaceship, and it was a 2D top-down space shooter. Now, that's something I didn't expect to say when related to Sonic. Now, last but certainly not least, and probably the most famous one of them all, is Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, do I even need to say much about this one? I figure at this point, everyone who's a Sonic freak like me knows what this one is, especially thanks to Sonic Mania Plus with the inclusion of Mighty and Ray. But for the few that don't know, it's basically a short arcade game that included Sonic, Mighty, and Ray as they run through what looks like Eggman's castle. It's like a 20-minute long game, and most interesting, it uses a trackball, which has been proven hard to emulate. But I tried my best and found a great way to play, as you can see in the footage. Awesome, man, look at that logo. Man, that looked like it'd be a great pin. This game, believe it or not, actually has some cut content to it. Apparently this was going to make it out to the West by showing this Robotnik sprite that comes from the cartoon shows. They look great, and would have loved to have seen this in action. Maybe one of you hackers out there can do it for Sage 2020. There's also some unused Sonic, Mighty, and Ray sprites like these ones I have. I'd love to do a playthrough of this sometime. Maybe on my channel? Maybe next video? Now the video games are pretty much over, but I'd also like to briefly talk about some other SegaSonic stuff. Do you like Sonic and Jigsaw puzzles? Japan's got you covered. Do you like can puzzles? Japan's also got you covered. While the art is nice, and I do like how the arcade SegaSonic has a puzzle, like there's actually merch for that game. But on the other hand, I just don't understand what's the deal with Japan and puzzles. Did you guys say phone cards? Well, they made those too, and I really like the original art on these. Maybe a cookie tin is your thing, because it's mine. I want that. I really do. Or how about yo-yos even? Dude, don't even get me started on the calendars, because they got them as well. If you haven't been able to find any merch of Sonic from the early 90s, it's because it went under the SegaSonic branding. So if you've had trouble, I hope I cleared it for you. I've always wanted to get some SegaSonic merch, and someday I will. But for now, the hunt continues. Anyway guys, I hope you liked this video of SegaSonic stuff. I've always been fascinated by it, and I felt like I needed to talk about it. Because I felt like if I'm going to take that title of Sonic Lore Master from Cybershell, I need to break out all stops. So guys, I need your help. Get Shiznai, Badnik Mechanics, Pat Mac, and Mizuki Moon in contact for me. I need this! But with all that said, this is Hedgy Spikes, signing out with this video's meme.